Dad's just lying there. Tubes in his arm and down his throat. It's disturbing to see him not moving. He was always working at something. His skin is soft but slack. His breathing, machine regular. His face is still, but not like sleeping. No twitching or adjusting, just still. I realized that I have never thought about my dad dying until now. I think I need to sit down for a minute with Dad. Just a month ago, he served us roast leg of antelope and wild goose for a late New Year's celebration. How can he be gone? When we got the call from my brother Michael that Dad was in the hospital on life support and unresponsive, Susan and I were preparing for our monthly baby-making intensive. We met late in life, and by the time we came to an agreement about having kids at all, we were already pushing the age limit for conception. In early '92, we were 2+ years into this endeavor, and we had pretty much given up on spontaneous, passionate sex. And instead, we were working on schedules, calendars, thermometers, ovulation predictors, sperm tests, special foods, coaching in proper sex positions, and even the proper after-sex position. So as we book a flight to Orange County, Susan is sure to include her ovulation science kit. At the hospital, Michael greets us with hugs. Dane and Linda are here as well. I can see the mantle of clan elder in their faces now. Brother Greg is still on the road, and his wife Connie will not be here. Michael says, next door Jerry noticed that Dad's LA Times was still in the driveway at noon. So he knocked on the door and got no response. So he went back and got his neighbor key and found Dad unconscious but breathing, sprawled out on his back on the bed. He called 911, then he called me. The doctor says it was a massive heart attack and a stroke. There's no response to stimuli and no hope of recovery. There's really nothing to do right now, so after we do a little catching up, we agree to reassemble tomorrow when Greg gets here, and Susan and I drive to Dad's La Habra house. Susan unpacks the junior science lab, and after consulting the thermometer, she announces, tomorrow morning looks like our window. This is the room of my high school years. The furniture that somehow survived 4 boys, extra long twin beds, plain roll-down curtains. I wake up early, and as Susan checks the oracle again, I get us each a glass of orange juice and turn up the thermometer a notch. She returns with a cheerful, "Yep, it's time," and jumps back into bed. I feel pretty distracted here in this house with my dad lying comatose in the hospital, but but I know that we can't miss this opportunity. So I slip under the covers and we proceed with what had become kind of a purposeful and routine procedure of intentional sex in the proper position, followed by 15 minutes of cuddling in the approved posture for conception. Michael and Dane and Linda are in the hospital room when we get back. Michael reports that the doctor saw no overnight changes, so we're just waiting for Greg. When he arrives, we fill him in on what we know, and he asks for some time to just sit with Dad. It's only a couple of minutes later when he says, "Okay, what do we do now?" A brief Q&A with the doctor. We look at each other, nods of agreement, and Michael signs the paper. The doctor tells us that we should expect him to pass quickly, not more than a few minutes after we remove the respirator. I realized that just 2 hours ago, Susan and I were trying to create a life. Dad is neatly tucked under the covers up around his chest, arms at his side on top of the covers. There's some brownish liquid leaking from his corner of his mouth. His breathing is uneven, labored, shallow. The six of us gather close around the bed. We hug, we hold hands, we hold his hands, and wait. His breathing is guttural, big pauses. Another breath and more fluids dripping. We dab at his face with a wash rag. We're all touching him. I remember that at one point someone is holding his left hand so that his forearm is vertical. And when they let go, his arm stays upright. I see his hand twist momentarily from side to side, and I decide that means turn off the machine, or maybe it's goodbye. Most likely it's meaningless. Greg is kneeling by the bed, praying. Dad's breath pauses and then bursts back again, loud, liquid, and we hold our breath along with him. It goes on for a while until Greg finally looks up and says, "He was a tough old bird." Each ragged, interrupted breath seems like the last, but it goes on for more than an hour. Finally, someone reaches out and checks his pulse for a long minute. It says, "He's gone." Two weeks later, Susan and I confirmed that we are pregnant once again. So my child was conceived on the day my father died. Because of our early term miscarriages, I cannot allow myself to get excited. Doctor visits are regular and thorough and positive, but I can't buy in. I remain in a denial limbo. But that doesn't stop the churning in my head. What does this mean? I'm going to be a dad. I no longer have a dad to consult. What am I going to do? So despite this need to stay removed, when we get to 10 weeks and the doctors once again confirm that mom and baby are healthy and thriving, I discover that I already have a plan. I'm headed south on Highway 280 for my evening commute, and I think I've got this tape recorder thing figured out, so here goes. It seems that I'm going to be a dad. It started with life and death, my baby and my father on the very same day. I immediately thought, aha, my baby is the reincarnation of my father. But I don't believe in reincarnation, so I don't really know what to do with that. I do know that I won't have any guidance or wisdom from my dad in this journey. I'll just have to rely on my memory. I'm about 3, maybe younger. I'm standing in the shady corner of our backyard. Dad is trying to teach me how to hit a baseball. He's kneeling behind me, his strong arms reaching around me, wrapping me, hands on the bat, on my hands on the bat, showing me how to swing, guiding me, how to move my arms and my hands and my hips. I can hear his coaching in my ear. This swinging, swiveling motion feels completely natural. The words that he's saying about doing things the right way just float by as I sink into that warmth, that connectedness with my dad. Then he stands and steps away. Go on, Jeff. Just wave the bat around. See how far you can reach with it in every direction. Touch the grass, draw a circle. Try it with 2 hands. Try it with 1 hand at a time. Just swing it all around. Play with it. Feel it. I don't remember hitting a ball at all. So, what is a dad? I clearly don't know. What will fatherhood do to me? How will it affect my career, my thoughts and beliefs? Dad, my padre, my old man, is gone. I'm going to become the daddy-o, the papa. Should I follow in my father's footsteps, or do I need to strike out on my own path? Hooray! We found out last Friday that we are going to have a girl. After all our efforts and disappointments. She has 20 chromosomes in all the right places. All of our struggles, well, we don't even want to think about that anymore. Susan is somewhat unhappy because she's nauseous and exhausted, but she is well enough to go to work, maintain her routine, and that's very important to her. All the tests indicate that the baby is doing great, but my role model is gone. Tomorrow morning, my 3 brothers and I will be in North Orange County to divide the property of Billy Dane Elliot. I don't think that we will claim that much of it. Then the house will be painted, the dining room tile fixed, and the house will go on the market, and my dad's life will be gone. I'm on a road trip with Dad driving, Mom in the front seat, Pete, me, Greg in the back seat. Dad keeps up a slow monologue of what he sees around us. Looks like spinach in that field. See how they have to keep it wet all the time? Or, oh, that's one of those new trailers with the wings on the back. It's supposed to help with gas mileage. Those of us in the back seat look for all those things, and like most families, I suppose, we turn the looking and the finding into games to keep us occupied on long trips. So Greg says, find the letters of the alphabet on other license plates in order. So find an A, go. I look, but I can't find anything, you know? I don't know how to look. So I watch my brothers, and I listen to my dad, who always helps by pointing. There's a red-tailed hawk way high up. Slowly, I start to catch on.